Bay, tell us what you see.
Saw I was at the foot of a sand dune, like a hill of sand, like you would see in a big desert.
Yeah.
And at the base of the sand dune, there was a snake like poked its head out. It was in the sand.
Oh wow.
And it poked its head out. It had like burrowed in the base of this sand dune. And
what does burrow mean?
just it had been like
Covered itself.
Cover stuff. Okay.
Yeah, it was like hiding almost.
Hiding. The hidden snake. Yeah.
It poked its head out for a moment, and my impression was that it was a rattlesnake or something like that.
Ready to bite, strike.
But then it actually pulled its head back in,
Oh.
and then immediately after, a boot came. I don't know if it was my boot or another boot came down and crushed
The surface.
through the
sack.
even after it had already withdrawn.
Yes.
It still came down on
You'll
it.
find. Yes.
And then
Okay.
the sand dune changed to like was in an instant was filled with. It was no longer sand. Nothing can grow in sand.
Life. Yeah.
It suddenly was covered in
Lush.
greenery. Yes.
Yes, lush.
And it became a hill. Not a
bless
dune
you.
anymore.
Oh, bless you.
So.
But that's what you're doing right now
That's what-
for your life, for our lives, for our lives. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. Now, I don't know how you guys are going to be overwhelmed. When God speaks, it's true. We need to learn to reverence God's way. Don't treat it lightly. What does happen to that sounds good? No, you will not always have the chance.
The first thing that I saw was a horse, and the horse was bending down and drinking water from the ground. And I'm trying to, okay. Let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
I saw the horse, and I saw that it had a bridle on, and I saw your hand reach down on the jaw of the horse, and just you were petting the horse. You were just petting it and rubbing its cheek, and you were riding on the horse, and you were in your, I want to say, spirit man, meaning you were clothed in righteousness and you were clothed in just the glory of the Lord. It was very apparent that that's the state that you were in. And then you can see the horse bending down. Well, let me step back again. Excuse me. You could see there's a huge, just valley floor filled with wheat. It's just completely full as far as the eye can see, and it's like a meadow of it. It's like a valley, and up against the backdrop of it are these really big mountain range, again with like snow on the top, and just lining the wheat field. But this wheat field is just, it's huge, as far as the eye can see. So you see this horse, and the horse is up close, and the valley's sort of behind it. The wheat's behind it, and then the mountains are behind that. And the horse reaches down and he draws up water from the floor, from the valley floor, the ground, and he soaks up the last drop of water. You could see that he just drinks up the water, and the water's now gone. And then, this will be hard to describe. The horse, then, you could see this fence. It looks like a wooden fence to me. And you can see that it's lined up all the way across down to the end of where the wheat ends at the mountain, at the bottom of the mountain. And the horse is up on its hind legs with its front two legs over the fence. And it's almost as if the horse has been holding that fence in place, not so that it wouldn't be moved, And you're still on this horse. And then the horse comes down off of the fence. And the fence begins to move over the field. And as the fence moves over the field, the field is plowed. And all that remains coming through the slats of the fence are the seed. The wheat are the pieces of wheat. So it's almost like it's mowing this field down. And as this huge fence slowly moves back, it completely changes the wheat into just the seed.
Oh, wow.
And so you can see now that this whole entire area is just complete. I'm not if it's called seed or not, the wheat pieces, I don't know what they're called.
Wheat, kernel.
Kernels. Okay, yes, exactly. Okay, so it's all covered in this field. And then I look up and I see the sky, and the sky is dark and gray. And in the dark sky, pieces of lightning come down, and they hit certain spots inside of this field, this huge field. And it begins to hit certain spots. And as it hits it, that spot burns up. Whatever was there, just you see fire coming up about 4 or 5 feet tall and about, I'd say, a foot wide. And then up in let me see which order this goes in. No. And then after the lightning comes, birds begin to come into this field. And they're all different kinds of birds. Like, it was strange. There were like robins and like those birds that carry fish in their mouths, those big gulls, and like flamingos and ducks. There were just all different kinds of birds in this field.
Okay.
And then if you pan up on the mountaintop, way up on the mountaintop on this perch, on this high branch, you see that an eagle is perched, and he's looking down over the field and he's watching. At first he looked wet to me. I don't know that has any significance, but then he was dry. So I don't know if that was just weird, but, and then after he starts looking down, so he's looking down on this field. And then once again, I'm down on this field and I'm looking, and these birds, I'm thinking they're supposed to be doing something, but they weren't. They were, waddling around. Some were cleaning their feathers. They were just all over the field doing their own thing. Not, I don't know what they were doing. Nothing important. Except for there was this giant blackbird. I think it was a crow. It looked like a crow to me. And this crow, he took up seed in his mouth. He didn't eat it. He just took it up into his mouth, or the kernels into his mouth. And then he flew up. And he flew up to where the eagle was. And he sat perched on the right side of this eagle. And what ended up happening was he ended up bringing the eagle 3 different things. First thing that he brought the eagle was there was a lizard. I'm not sure which comes first, but I think it was the lizard that came first. And he gave it to the eagle, and the eagle consumed it. And then the next thing that he brought the eagle was fish, 2 small, I think it was 2 small fish. And the eagle consumed it. And the third thing he brought was that seed, and he didn't consume the seed. He poured the seed over the eagle. And at that point, the eagle left its perch, and he flew out from the farthest end of the field with its wings spread out, and he began to fly over the field. Go on. Not yet. Almost. Sorry, my son just came in.
Okay.
Almost. And so he began to fly over the field, and as he did, it stirred up the seed, or the kernels. And you could see the kernels, and they would fly up to the eagle and they would fall. But few of them would fly up and land in the back arch of the bird's back. And so as he flew over this field and all this kernels were stirred up, some would land right in the middle of his back, and it began to sort of become this little pile, but the rest would sort of just fall back to the ground. Then after this, when he got to the end of this field, he began to fly toward heaven. And as he reached a certain point, like a light shone, and it was very, very bright. And the eagle actually became larger, and its wings became larger and sort of like brighter and bigger. And then I could see the feet of Jesus. The bird was no longer, and I could see the feet of Jesus. And he was in sandals and a out like a white robe or something. And he began to run to the throne of God. Like, he didn't walk. It was very clear that he was running. And he ran to the throne of God, and in his hands, cupped in his hands, was this pile of seed or kernel or whatever.
Mm.
And he ran thank you, Karen. Okay. And he ran to the throne of God, and he in the hands of the Lord, he put the kernels in the hands of the Father.
Mm.
And the hands of the Father held this pile of kernels, and he began to drop them into this gold bowl. And in this gold bowl, the kernels began to have this sweet smelling aroma. And the Lord, the Father, began to sort of inhale this sweet smelling aroma. It was a sweet smelling aroma to the Father.
Mm.
And the Father lifted the bowl up.
Mm.
And the aroma went out over the universe. And then the aroma, it almost looked like the Northern Lights a little bit. The aroma came, and you could see the aroma sort of going across the universe, the galaxy, the outside, the darkness, all the stars and all that. And it started to go towards Earth, and it went over the Earth, and then you can see the aroma just cover over the Earth.
Mm.
And that was all.
Oh, wow. That's what a picture. That's really about our ministry. First Fruits Company. And the glory will fill in all. So the Lord, in that light, what a better vision we can have. Huh? Recently, Ben has a vision about about weed and stuff like that. I'm thinking a lot about it. So, yeah.